For instance, if we wanted to only review the scoring chances for the home team, we can click on this. And what that does is it automatically highlights those instances on our track, and we can review them. Hello everyone, this is another tutorial on how to use Pelaa, and today we focus on the track. Using the tag window that ships with every instance of Pelaa, I marked the game, and this is how a fully tagged track looks like. Let's start with investigating that by looking at the edit bar on top. So here you got several buttons. The first one adds a row for your track there, which you can rename. The other one would send the selection from the track to stack. So for instance, if I'd like this particular shot to be transported to stack, I would left click on it to select, and then I could use this button, and now this shot appears on our stack. Let's delete that for now. The next one is export selection, and imagine I'd like to select several clips to export right away from track without editing them in stack. So what we could do is we could select several instances, and there are also multiple ways to do this. So we could select only one clip with a simple left click, but if we wanted to select multiple clicks, we could use command key, and we could, by pressing and holding the command key and left clicking on instances that we'd like to select, we are able to highlight and essentially select all those instances. This works both for sending things to stack. So for instance, here, instead of clicking something on in the edit bar, I could also use that shortcut. It's there in parentheses, which is an equal sign. So if I now click that shortcut key, that would transport the whole selection onto our stack. But if I undo that and again select several clips like this, I could also export that selection from here. We have this pop-up menu that gives the user several choices on how to export things directly from track. The first option is self-explanatory. Those 4 tags that are selected are gonna get merged, and the result would be one video file. Row by row means that in this case there's gonna be 2 video files. One video file would be labeled as shot F, and it would contain 2 tags which were selected, and the other video file would be scoring chance against, or SCA, and that video file would contain those 2 tags. If you select individual tags, there's going to be 4 separate exported video files, 1 for each tag. Another way of selecting things on track is by using Shift key, and that would select everything that's in between the first and the last one. So for now, I'm gonna press and hold Shift, and I'm gonna select this one. And what was selected is a range between the first and the last click if I press and hold Shift. Now there's one more way to select things, and if you press and hold Shift and then you left click and hold and you start dragging operation, you see this rectangle, and whenever you let go, it automatically selects whatever that rectangle touched. And it works similarly. I could send that to stack, and that selection would be over there. Now let's go to the 4th button of the edit bar, which says Analytics. And if I click on that, right here in the place of the tag window, we have this Analytics report. This is a report which is already saved. It was created by me and saved. And it gives us an overview in terms of shots, what happened in the game. And in that particular clip that we used, we can see that the home team in red was pretty heavily outplayed by the away team. We can see that from the numbers. What functionality does that also contain? For instance, if we wanted to only review the scoring chances for the home team, we can click on this, and what that does is it automatically highlights those instances on our track, and we can review them. Same with, for example, shots, or if we want to take a look at the opponent's scoring chances, it works similarly. Now, this is a ready report, and let's take a look at how we can create a new one. So here we have this selector which says shots, and it allows all that functionality down below as well. But for now we want to create a new report, and what we can see that is changed is that we can see this builder grid icon light up, and we can see this grid. And this is similar to the build and tag mode of the tag window, but here we build reports and then we are actually track those and they are actionable when we save them. So this is kind of the build mode. What we could do here is, for instance, if we wanted to recreate something similar to the previous report, which was shots, we could just click, hold, and drag any peel that our tag window has, and we drag it onto the canvas here. So it automatically counts instances of that specific tag button, which is goal, and there were no goals there. So how do we modify that? Okay, one thing that we could do is we could double click on that and say, for example, scoring chance, and press enter, and it adds a row to the table. Or we could do like this and say, like we want to say against, and it's going to end a column. Now this one, the total column, it cannot be renamed. What we could do is we could, and here we can have a typo here, so we don't need those two columns. We can recreate them from the start. We can have it named as for, and we can name it as against. Hopefully now with no typo. And here we can say goal and scoring chance are there. Now we need to fill those cells inside the table, and for the goal we need the goal and we need the for in the column, so we take that peel and drop it right onto the intersection of those, and we can have that 0 again. We take goals against and drag it. Now scoring chances 4, we drag it, and now we can see this light up to 3, and by default those rows will receive the color of the peel that is getting dropped on, so this is why it lit up green. And scoring chances against is here, well, we can see 15. One other option that we could do is we can right click that and we can change the color, and for instance we want this highlighted red, and now we have a similar looking table, and the one thing that's left is to name it as shots. Also here we can add a new table to the report, which is completely like built from the scratch, and you could build it similarly. We can undo that for now. One interesting thing that we can also do is, for instance, if we want to know the time of a specific element, specific tag, here we can see that the home team played on PK for quite some time, but we would like to know, for example, how long did we spend on PK in our own end. So that's also possible. So that would look like this. We would drop that on here, and it says there are 8 instances of PK in zone, which is a count, so that's accurate. But now we can right click and use time, and here we see that it lasted for 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And if we cannot see that for the opposing team because the home team was not on power play, so essentially we don't need to fill that right now. It would have said 0. But what we could do is, for instance, we could similarly find offensive zone play, and again there were 10 instances of that, but we can count its time. On the opposite side, we can find our defensive zone coverage, and that is the same for the opposing team. We could drop it on here, 15 instances. We can take time, and we can see that if we properly rename that to offensive zone, and also just say that this is PK zone, we can see now that the home team spent 2 minutes, roughly 2 minutes, in their offensive zone, and the opposing team spent almost 4 minutes in their offensive zone. So this is how you can use the reports and how you can combine them, and then you can obviously save them and rename, and also there are options to export that as an image and as a PDF. So we can save that and name the report demo and save it. And then when we use it on any real game, then we toggle this off, And here we see no grid and a more clean view. And then if we want to check something out here on the track, these are the instances that got selected. And let's see, these are the instances of the PK in zone for the home team. Okay, so that was a big part on reports. One other aspect of it would probably be the total label that would sum up everything that is, for instance, in this row. This total column would sum everything up. The use case for that total column would be, for instance, this. You will have shots, scoring chances, misses, and all the other tags as rows. And then you'd like to know what player was involved with that particular instance. And here you could have labels like number 5, number 6, number 10, number 13, etc. And then this total column would sum up all the instances in that specific row, but at the same time you would be able to see those instances per player in the intersection of the cell and the column. So I won't demonstrate that with building that right now, but the functionality is there, and you could definitely use that. One other thing from this edit bar, if your tag window is pretty big, and you'd like to find that specific field that you need right away. For instance, if I want to find that PK in zone right away, we can search for that tag PK, and it just narrows down our choice in those fields. Okay, now I feel like we've covered the reports pretty well. All right, let's go back to the track and switch off the analytics. Now here we can see that our tag window appeared again. And couple more things about the track. First of all, there is an option for you to zoom it in and out, and it centers on the playhead. You can do it both from this zoom slider and by pinching 2 fingers together as a normal macOS gesture. It also supports that. It will set your zoom level. Here you can search the labels you inserted. For instance, in this specific tag window that I got, there are these labels won and lost, which apply to face-offs. So if I type here the word won, you can see that most of the tags here are dimmed. But if we actually find a row that contains face-offs, for example, this offensive zone face-off left, you can see that this tag is not dim, but it's active, and it's easier for us to search. And if we pinch to zoom, you can see that every single tag contains its order number in the row, and also it contains that label which gets applied on top. So what we can see here that there is a face-off that was won in the defensive zone. This is an offensive zone, and probably there were a couple of face-offs that were won on PK. And when you delete that label from the search bar, all the tags are active again. Going down from the edit bar to the second row, this is our timer. And in track, it tells you the specific time of the playhead. And this number is the same as the number in the player view, which basically tells you at what spot in the footage you are right now. And it works like this always. And that would be the ruler, pretty self-explanatory. That would tell you exactly the same thing. One more way to drop things onto stack. So we know that one way to go is to click this icon in the edit bar. The next one would be to use the equal sign shortcut. But also what you could do is you can click on that, press and hold Command, left click and hold and start dragging, and you can see this ghost appearing. And when you drag it onto stack and drop it, there it is in stack. Now we delete that back again, and the stack is empty. Now I will show you a couple ways how you can trim or extend the instances. There are multiple ways to do it. Now when you click this tag, you can see that it is selected. The first way to go about trimming is go to the player, use the playhead, or what I like to use is the scrub-in gesture with 2 fingers swiping across the trackpad, so I could find the exact moment. And I'm scrubbing now, and you can see that the playhead moves. And let's say I'd like that scoring chance that's going to happen here after a turnover. There's a scoring chance. I don't need it to be that long as it is currently. So this tag is selected. I found the proper position of the playhead that I'd like to start that instance at. And what I do now is I use a shortcut, Command plus I, and that will essentially start the tag from here. Okay, and let's do the same for the end of the clip. Say that this scoring chance ended there, but I want a couple extra seconds there until the puck is out of the zone. Let's say I wanted to do that for some reason. And similarly, this tag stays selected, and we set the position of the playhead how we want it. And then for everything that's connected to modifying the end of the clip, the proper button would be a letter O. So that would be Command and O. And you can see that the end of the tag now is at the same time and at the same position as the playhead. So this is one way. Another way would be to add time to the start of the clip by using Shift, Command, and I. That would keep adding a specific amount of time to the start of the clip. And if you wanted to do the same with the end of the clip, you would start pressing O, and that would extend the clip's end. So okay, and then similarly again, I could use Command and O to cut the end, and Command and I to cut the start. Here's where you could check all those shortcuts. So Command I, Command O. We used 5-second extension with the Shift and Command combo, but if you use just Shift and I, that would add only 2.5 seconds. Now here's another interesting area of the track menu, which will allow us to switch between tags, but we're going to come back to this in a moment. Before that, I would like to tell you the third way of how you could trim or extend tags. If you press and hold Shift and then hover over the end of the clip or the start of the clip, you can see that the pointer changed its shape to that double-sided arrow. And now if you left click, hold, and start dragging, you can see that the tag can get extended like this, and also the end could get extended like this. So this is the third way of how you can change the tag's duration. Okay, and now, like I promised, that next tag and previous tag, it's a nice feature. Say there are 3 shots on track, and you'd like only to watch those. What you could do is to select them either by command, using command, or the other way to select all tags in the row would be just to left click on the row label. Then you can see that the whole row gets selected. And by default, the playhead will jump to the first instance in the row. So if I click scoring chance against, it's gonna jump to the beginning of the first clip there and stuff like that. So shot 4, here I click that row again, and I want to play it. That was shot number 1, and then I want to just jump to the next one. So what I do is I press Tab, and it goes to the start of the second clip. If I go again, it goes to the start of the third one. If I want to go backwards, I could use Shift and Tab, and that will reverse the direction. And here we can see that there were 5 shots there, and we can see that I can switch between them with the tab, which is pretty convenient. If I have some sort of a selection, let's say the selection is going to be like this, and I start clicking tab, it's going to go in order from the first one, left to right, and then top to bottom. It's going to switch between all of those selected. All right, I think this tutorial is a pretty extensive one, and I hope that the functionality of track now is more clear to you. Hope you found some useful tips how to operate in Pelaa. So thank you so much, and see you in another tutorial.